Good morning and welcome to Project Nigel on Tuesday the 2nd of March 2021. Now the reason I gave you the full date there was because I wanted to prove first that I am compos mentis and about to make the right decision. Here we have a lovely V5 document that I've just filled in my name. Yes, making a proper decision about something for once. And there we have it, Project Morris. I have decided that I am going to keep this car, so I've just filled in the V5 on my own behalf and sold it to myself. For long enough now this car's been kind of held in limbo, no owner, nobody really loving it, and I've been feeling sorry for it, and well, nobody seems to want to buy it, do they? Well, hang on, is that entirely correct? No, it's not. Because my friend whom I bought this car off in the first place does want it back. And he has made me an offer on it a couple of times. But it's not quite enough. Considering the amount of time and money I put into this car, I can't let it go for that particular offer. But my reasons for keeping this car, after all, are fairly clear. First one is I can't get the money for it that I think it deserves, and perhaps that means it's not really worth that kind of money, but that would mean that the time and effort I put into it wasn't worthwhile doing, and I don't really want to admit that. Personally, I think it's a very, very pretty car, and I'd be very proud to drive this thing around. And thirdly, or did I say thirdly? Well, thirdly, whatever the case, my wife likes it, and she's been saying all along that out of all my cars, this is her favourite. And all this time I've been just trying to get her to like Nigel a bit more, but it's just not working. And after all, it is Mother's Day this month, quite soon, and what better gift could I give to the mother of my children than a car for myself? So what I have to do now is take this car for its MOT, because it doesn't currently have one. It would have seemed a bit pointless having an MOT while it's just sat around in the yard, just getting used up, just like Project Stan there. So what I'm going to do now is just move it off the dirt, pump the tyres up and let it warm up properly. There we go, passed its MOT. Very pleased by that. So I think the next job to do is actually give it a wash. Well, it doesn't look dirty actually in these on this film, but it actually is. So my original plan for the day has changed a little bit. I'm just going to go and get some petrol. It's been quite a while since I've driven this car on the road. Driven it around the yard quite a bit, just shunting around, which isn't really what it's good for. And just wanted to see whether I still like it, or how much I do like it. And the answer is it's a bit boring, really, to be absolutely honest. You know what, lots of people have gone on to me about how good the ZS is, how well they handle. And when I drove this one before, I didn't really get it, if I'm honest. I just thought the 25 is just as good. So I'm just going to fling it around a couple of roundabouts to see whether I'm missing out on something, because I'm not sure if I am or not. Roundabout here, all the way around. Van's not going to stop for me. Now the van's in front of me. Now the van's going too slow for me. Bit of actual speed footage to see how well it does actually cling on. So let's fling it around this roundabout here and see what happens. Here we go. Whoa, that does cling. That really clings on actually. Actually, I'm amazed by that.
That's really good. That's actually really impressive. In all honesty, I just haven't really driven it like this before. So I'm going around that same roundabout now. It's this focus in front of me is slowing me down. At least I can see him leaning quite a lot. I'm really impressed by that. It's much better than I was expecting. I never really drove like a hooligan when I was younger, and now I'm 50. Obviously, I'm a long way from it. So being told I can get away with driving like a nutter in this isn't what I was expecting, and I wasn't expecting it to do quite as well as that. It doesn't mean I'm going to start being a nutter. No, too expensive. These brakes are really sharp as well. Do you know what's really odd? I've had this car sat in the yard all stupid noisy thing. I've had this car sat in the yard all this time, nobody buying it. And now I'm giving it a bit of a push. I feel like I really get it. It's not as good as Nigel though. Just giving it a quick little wash over there. Missed a few bits, of course. It's always the case. You don't notice them until you've already put all your stuff away. There we go, that's a bit better. So I think my revised plan for this car now is going to be to definitely keep it for 2 months and then possibly put it up for swaps for a decent R8 or something like that. There certainly are quite a few imperfections I could do with sorting out at some point. This wing, for example, paint's not particularly good on that there. And then down to the rear bumper. Now, when I first started Project Nigel, I repaired this, and that still works, but it still doesn't look great with these bits of whatever that is stuck on there. So at some point I'd like to try and remove that. Shiny paint selfie. Overall it's quite a lovely car, this, and the wheels really make it as far as I'm concerned. None of them have any real damage on them. They've all come up really clean without any real effort. Some new badges wouldn't go amiss, I suppose. Gonna get a little clean up on the inside as well, and clean up some of these little nooks and crannies where grot gets stuck. Much better, much nicer indeed. Now this is a little bit of rather irritating build quality. That's quite floppy there, so I tighten up the screws, and then if you tighten the screws up, that will stay closed. Nice. Now what often happens with swapping and changing cars from it is I'll drive someone else for a couple of days and then find myself thinking that, well actually I much prefer Nigel anyway. Now I wonder if that will happen this time with this one, because I'll just keep using it until that happens. Maybe it won't. What I have noticed so far though is that people aren't looking at me and smiling and laughing. That's because I'm not in Nigel, is it? Looking at me like I'm some sort of strange chap who cannot make his mind up about what colour his car should be. Now, as I've discovered that this ZS does handles fantastically, I'm going to have to make a real effort to actually make it worth its while, because I just don't really do that kind of thing. I don't know why, but I worry too much about wearing tyres out or having stuff flung around in the boot. The other day I explained the reason for having these snippets of video where I'm driving home in my car, being that I've done my video but I haven't really finished it, and I've just come to a point where suddenly I'm putting things away and going home and I realise I haven't finished explaining something. Now today is a double, because I've done that bit of video on the way home, and then realised afterwards I still haven't explained the thing or come to any kind of conclusion. So here it is now. My previous experience with this shape of car was a 400 diesel and a 420 GSI, and yeah, that's it. I didn't have any others, but they were both quite floppy and baggy feeling, and they didn't really want to grip on anywhere particularly. I had a 1998 S registered 420 GSI, but that was about as sporting as beating up a midget that's tied to a chair. And I also had a 414 as well, also S registered, and it wasn't sporty whatsoever. It didn't really cling on, and neither did the diesel version. So my assumption of the ZS, yeah, just an old man trying to run for a bus. So I'm quite happy with that. Anyway, bye for now.